Hello everybody, Mobius1 here with a follow-up video to my previous SWGEmu video regarding that in-game poll on a new test server. For those of you who missed it, the SWGEmu staff recently added an in-game poll as a pop-up for whenever you signed in, asking if the staff were to launch a new test server, which server would you prefer to play on, whether that being the new server, Basilisk, or both, or whichever. Well, we have a post here on the forums by Lolander with the poll results, and 36% have chosen I'd play on Basilisk and the new server. 25% would say they'd play only on the new server, which is the poll or the option that I went with. 18% said they're not sure. 15% would only play on Basilisk, and 4% wouldn't care. Based on these results, the staff have gone ahead and decided that, yes, we will in fact be getting a new server named Finalizer. Included with this forum post is a very lengthy Q&A that was done. The staff gathered a couple of questions. Well, I say a couple, but there's actually quite a few questions from the community here, and gone ahead and answered them. So what I'm going to do, obviously, since I don't want this video to be a half-hour long, is I will read the most what I feel are the most critical ones, the ones that most of the community are going to be concerned with, and I will of course include the link to this forum thread in the video description below, so that if you want to go ahead and read the entire thing, you're more than welcome to do that on your own. Before we get started with the Q&A, let's go over some changes that are going to be present on the new server from launch. Actually, not really a change. Finalizer will use the same TOS as Basilisk does now, so all the terms that you guys are used to with Bassi is going to carry over to Finalizer. But here we go. 2 characters per account, 1 character online at a time. That's massive, if you didn't already know, because Basilisk allows 10 characters per account and 2 characters online at a time, which has allowed people to be totally self-sufficient. You're able to have basically every profession in the game playable by 1 person, obviously not at the same time, but still across 10 characters, you could pretty much master everything and anything. So if you needed a doctor, you'd have one. If you need an entertainer, you have one. If you need any type of crafter in the game, you have one. And there are people who have done that. With this, you are going to have to depend on other people to get something. Many things, actually. If you're limited to only 2 characters, if people who are into crafting are not even going to be able to master every crafting profession, which, I mean, I understand some people out there are going to be disappointed by that. It's kind of becoming a trend where MMOs allow people to do anything and everything on 1 character now. If you look at Final Fantasy XIV, you can level literally every job in the game to max level, including all of the crafting and gathering classes, and that's really exciting. However, that's not the point with Galaxies. Galaxies has always been, and hopefully will continue to be, a game where the interactivity between players is really the most important thing, where you can't do everything by yourself because you're just another person living in the Star Wars galaxy. You have to reach out and find people to provide you with materials or armor or weapons or whatever to be able to survive and do what you need to do as a group. It's not supposed to be a 1 person does everything, and limiting to 2 characters per account is really going to change up the way people are used to playing, especially those that play on Basilisk at the time. 1 character online is also a very, very important change, because one of the biggest complaints on Bassi right now is how many AFK bots are present on the server. Well, with 1 character online at a time, anybody who's typically running an AFK bot on Basilisk right now is playing on their other character, because you can have 2 logged in at once. Since you can only have 1 logged in on Finalizer, a lot of those AFK bots are not going to be there, because if somebody wants to run an AFK bot, they can't then play on another character at the same time. So sure, there might be some running while that person is sleeping or at work or something like that, but for the most part, I think we're going to see a significant decrease in AFK bots on Finalizer. Basilisk character names will be reserved for 90 days. After that period, the names are free to be used by anyone, so unfortunately you guys can't steal my name. ADKs, resource deeds, and self-powered harvester deeds will be removed. They did it. They did it. They made the change. Yeah. No. I'm reading it right here. They did it. I'm telling you, they did it. It says it right here. I'm, you, I'm right there. They'll be removed. They're gone. I know. Yeah, that's huge. 80K's gone. Resource deeds, nah, it's not a huge thing. Self-powered harvester deeds, yeah, okay, whatever. But the fact that 80K's are being removed completely, I would have, expected them to maybe make them no trade, because we know they can do that. They did that on Basilisk for a period there when there was the whole Dupegate scandal going on. So we know that it was possible for them to make 80K's no trade, which I think would have been an okay compromise. But the fact that they're straight up removing them is, quite frankly, surprising to me, but a welcome one at that. Jedi unlock will still be the village, but with phase times reduced to 1 week. That's also kind of an interesting change. 1 week is really fast. If they had told me they were going to make a change to the length of the village phase, I would have guessed 2 weeks. But hey, I mean, 1 week it's still long enough to get stuff done. I guess they just want people to be able to get to Jedi and test Jedi-related stuff as quickly as possible. And they're not making any changes to XP rates, so you're still going to have to do a ton of grinding to hit all the Force-sensitive XP needed to train the 6 FS branches to unlock Jedi. And given the fact that it's going to be a fresh server, you're not going to have Master Weaponsmiths cranking out grenades for people to do their commando grinds as quickly as they could on Basilisk. So theoretically, it's possible that we'll see Jedi within like a month and a half of the new server going live, but if anybody manages to pull off that feat, they will have no life whatsoever to be able to get the amount of XP needed that quickly on a fresh server. We're gonna see it. Somebody's gonna do it, and I can't wait. If you do it, please reach out to me on Discord, because I'd love to do a video interview with you if you pull it off. Squad leader range will be reduced. So right now, I believe squad leaders buffs are planet-wide. So as long as you're on the same planet as the squad leader, you get the benefit of their buffs. Somewhere in the Q&A, I think it'll say what range they're reducing the buffs to, but that, from what I know, my limited PvP knowledge, that's going to change things quite a bit, because that means squad leaders who don't actually benefit from their own buffs are going to struggle to stay within range of the group that they are in fact buffing, and then will also have to put themselves at risk during combat and become probably one of the primary targets of the enemy team. So that's going to totally change the way squad leaders play. It'd be interesting to see what kind of compositions or profession combinations people come up with to either try to protect or just, keep their squad leaders alive during combat. Because I imagine whichever team loses their squad leader first is probably going to be at a severe disadvantage. House maintenance will not automatically withdraw from the bank. I think that is... Overall, I think that's a good change. It's kind of indifferent. I mean, it just makes people have to be more aware of staying on top of their maintenance rates. Interestingly, we have a kind of not on the server, but kind of important change. Automatic Galaxy Harvester pushes, but with a 2-day delay on new resources, so that people who enjoy this part of the game can still be first on a good spawn. If you guys have never heard of it, there is a website out there called Galaxy Harvester, which players can go on to and report spawns of resources, including the stats that they have and the locations where you can sample them. With this change, apparently this team is going to figure out some way to automatically push that data from the Finalizer server to the Galaxy Harvester website. But of course, as it says here, with a 2-day delay, so that people who are actively searching for new resources in-game still benefit from the fact that they're taking the time to do so, and that will allow them to get harvesters down, or at least hand sample as much as they can before, the masses swarm it, because the data becomes public information. And lastly, it says Tuesday weekly push of new code from unstable with a server restart. We will not push unstable code, but the server will get a weekly restart at 9 AM UTC, no matter if it got new code or not. So that is very different from Bassi, which at the time of this recording has been running for only 11 days and 9 hours, but we have seen Basilisk running for over 30 days straight without a restart, and It's gotten a lot more stable over the years, but things do start happening when the server is left running for so long. So it's nice to see that Finalizer is going to have a weekly restart. And the fact that it's going to have not unstable code, but new code pushed every week is going to allow more people to test that code than we've seen testing on like the TC Nova server in the past. All right, so moving on to the Q&A, it says here there are 42 questions. We've tried to answer them as well as we can. Again, I'm not going to go over all 42. Check it out if you want, or maybe even if you can, read them along with the video. But here we go. First and foremost, will a new server be a test server? Yes. It will still be considered a temporary test server for us. It will be as Basilisk is now, however the server will track unstable much more closely. New code will be pushed on a weekly basis when the server restarts, given stability. This will facilitate quicker testing of changes and enable us to weed out issues that arise. Basically what I just said, but what's most important is Finalizer is, similarly to Basilisk, going to be a test server that once the team has reached its 1.0 goal and is comfortable launching their final play server, will be wiped or turned off or whatever, killed along with Basilisk. Will the new server have blue frogs? No, there will not be blue frogs on the new server. It is a test play server as Basilisk is now. So even though they are going to be pushing new code to test onto Finalizer, it's not going to be a blue frog server the way Nova is. Will you involve the community more in the future? We are looking into several ways to involve the community more in our process. One of them is possibly implementing a player senate like SOE did back in the day. We're also looking into using the HoloNet system already in place in the spaceports. Lastly, we also have the survey system you were all just introduced to. So yes, we wish to interact with the community more. I think this is a very good thing, a good sign, especially as we draw closer to 1.0, because we know that post 1.0, the team is going to start making changes to the server that are not 14.1 compliant. So I think it's very important to not let the community dictate which changes take place, but definitely let the community provide input and maybe influence some of those changes. Because we all know what happens when a team just blindly listens to what their vocal minority of the community wants. I think that's how we end up with NGE. So we don't want that, but we also don't want the team just blindly making changes that we have no say in. So I think the in-game survey feature is a very good thing to have. I think it worked out very well. LK was able to collect a lot of data regarding that I'm leaving out of this video, but there is another post on the forums that goes into how many people voted for what, how often those people play. There's a really nice breakdown, a bunch of different graphs and stuff. You guys can look that up too. Will there be staff-run events on both servers? Scripted events will continue on both servers, whereas events initiated by staff will not be possible to have across multiple servers. The server with the most population will see most of these events. So I think this is important because obviously the event coordinators have been doing their best to have new types of events. We just had the Visions of the Past event running in December. We had the Halloween event going on earlier this year. So it's good to see that they do still have the scripted stuff like Wookiee Life Day that's going to run on both servers. But whichever of the two servers ends up having the most population is the one that's going to be seeing the actual staff run events, which I have no doubt that's going to be Finalizer. Will the new server get post 14.1 content? It will not see a lot of changes to 14.1 at the start. Down the line, we will make changes that we wish to test out. And this is, just like I said in my previous video, exactly what we want. We want a server to test some of these post 1.0 stuff before they just go live. And Finalizer, which it won't be at the start, is going to be the place where those tests, where those changes can be tested, and hopefully we see a resurgence of players to actively test the new stuff. Just a continuation of that, will the new server see significant tweaks to buffs, armor, weapons, professions? As with the previous question, any balancing attempts might be done at the very end of the current project's lifetime, but not before. So that's a yes. If you read in between the lines, yes, we are going to see tweaks to buffs, armor, weapons, and professions, but not yet. Let's let them finish getting their 14.1 stuff done, and once that's in there, then we're going to start seeing the interesting changes. Looking a little bit deeper into the character slots, they said how many characters will we have access to. There will be 2 character slots available for each player. You'll have 1 character online at a time. which we knew. But additionally, unlocking Jedi will not give you a third character slot. So even if you do complete the village, the character you complete the village with will become your Jedi, and that will be one of your 2 characters. So even in the past, with SOE, when you did unlock Jedi, you unlocked an additional character slot. Not the case on Finalizer. I will kind of go ahead and say that while this is how the server is going to behave at launch, depending on how things go, some of these things are liable to change in the future. So if people find that unlocking Jedi, taking up one of your 2 slots, is egregious in some way, then it's possible that unlocking Jedi might grant you a 3rd character slot, or we'll just get 3 slots altogether. I know the number of playable characters and the number of characters per account is kind of a contentious point amongst the community. Some people think having 2 is good, some people think having 3 is good, some people like being able to have 10 and doing everything by themselves. We've had years of testing 10 character slots on Basilisk. This is the opportunity to test and see how the game plays when people are limited to 2 characters. So it's not guaranteed that this is the way things are going to be in the future, but it is something that we have to test as a community and see how it plays out. Question here is what will be done with bots. As much as we also don't like bots, a solution will require a lot of thought to find a good solution. For now, this system will not be touched, but we have begun discussing solutions for a future production server. So there aren't going to be any changes to the way the AFK bots are handled yet. Obviously, they want to do something about it in the future. If you've watched any of my interviews with the staff in the past, a lot of them talk about not necessarily penalizing AFK play, but finding some way to reward ATK play. I don't know what their internal discussions have been on this, but that's kind of their approach that they're taking to it, is rewarding people who are actually at the computer playing, instead of penalizing those who aren't. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. No, there's not going to be a change to the way the Acklay is camped in the Geocave on Finalizer, at least not right away. But maybe that's something that'll come down the road. It's just not within their scope at the time. Just a confirmation is what I said earlier. Question here is, I hope the new server isn't used to perpetuate the 14.1 goal and instead 1.0 changes are tested upon it. And their answer, at the start, the server will not have a lot of changes past Basilisk, but we intend to make changes and test them on this server. So there you go. It's just not just my speculation anymore. They flat out said it, that at some point in the future, we will be seeing these post 1.0 interesting changes. Here's the squad leader thing that I was saying. So will squad leader be limited to range? Yes, we will change the range of SL. It will no longer be planet, this says planet side, but planet wide. The sensible range will have to be tested, but we will set it to 128 meters at start. So this is something that they're looking at. They're obviously not decided on a final range. They chose a distance of 128 meters to test initially, and we'll see how things go to see if that is either going to be increased or decreased. I have a feeling it's going to be increased slightly, but we'll see. This is an interesting one that I really just want to bring up because of the last couple things that the answer says here. So the question is, if nuke load merges break a certain aspect of the game or create a temporary unfair advantage that is exploited, will the server be rolled back to correct this? And their answer is, this is almost impossible to answer. It really depends on how long the bug or exploit has been on the server. What we most of all depend on is that bugs and exploits are being reported to Mantis. Why some of the exploits we have seen on Basilisk become so huge is because people use the exploits instead of reporting them to us. It's short-sighted, it only damages our community. Not much else needs to be said about that. If you find a bug, just report it. The quicker we get these bugs squashed, the sooner we reach our 1.0 goal, the sooner we get the final play server, and just the more fun the game is going to be for everybody. Will you change how FRS XP is earned so there's no need for fight clubs, balance changes to looted dot weapons or CM dots, or addressing the AFKers, Ewoks, crates, Acklay, etc.? Answer is, we feel that the change to 2 characters and 1 online at a time will make it so that the players are more dependent on each other, and it will make fight clubs harder to achieve. It will still be possible to do. To solve that would require a new system, and it is not something we can do at the start of this server. So I agree. I imagine that fight clubs for FRS grinding will probably still exist, but they will be much more difficult to achieve given the 2 characters, 1 online at a time restriction. So again, we'll see. Relating to character slots per account, what will be done to reduce the number of players with multiple accounts? Answer: we don't have a solution to this issue at the time of this Q&A. We want people in each household to be able to play together, but at the same time we know many misuse the multiple accounts that their home has been allowed to have. To find good rules for this is even more important than before, since we now will limit the characters. You can have to 2 and only 1 online. People who are found abusing this will get banned. And then that question kind of goes hand in hand with, will there be any improvements to the process for approving multiple household accounts? Answer: the process will unfortunately be as it is today. We don't have another way to handle it. We have tools in place to stop multiple accounts, but tools only take us this far. A lot of multiple account issues must be handled manually by someone in support. So yeah, those two questions kind of go hand in hand. The multi-user household thing has been like a hot topic lately. I've read multiple posts of people saying that they were either incorrectly banned or people who have put in appeals for their bans that were denied. So I've read a lot of criticism. I haven't read anybody making any suggestions as a better way to handle it. So it looks like that's kind of where the staff is too. So if you were out there and you were banned for suspected multi-user or multi-accounting and you weren't, just know that yes, you can appeal that ban through the live support ticket system, because I think a lot of people think that there isn't a way to appeal that when there is. And secondly, yeah, if you think there's a better way to handle it, let's hear it. Post it on the forums, post a comment in this video. I'm sure we're gonna get some people complaining about it in the comments anyway. So yeah, be constructive. How will veteran rewards be handled? Currently this system is handled by account creation time, which I didn't think that was the case, but apparently that's the case. This of course is not optional for a new server. I think this is supposed to say this is of course is not optimal for a new server. There would have to be a new system in place to handle this, and we don't have the time to implement something like this. With that said, ADK's resource needs and self-powered harvesters have been removed. What they have left out of that list is flash speeders, and I have made my point, my opinion known on Discord that I think the flash speeders should also be removed, at least temporarily. Now we know that it's possible for the devs to add items to the veteran reward list because they did in the past add the anniversary goggles to the list of veteran rewards on Basilisk. So, you know, at launch, Finalizer, we're not going to have Master Artisans popping out speeder bikes and swoops like you have on Basilisk, and vehicles are actually going to be fairly rare for at least a week or two. Until people really get the resources needed to start cranking them out on a factory runs and stuff. So I don't know. I think personally flash speeders should be removed and then added in like maybe 30 days later or 60 days later, just so people don't have immediate access to fast vehicles. Again, the start of a Galaxy server is one of the most interesting times to play just because of the scarcity of resources and the difficulty of the game compared to how the game plays, you know, 3 or 4 months in. And lastly, if the daily population of Bass drops below XX for DD period of time, will Bass be shuttered? We have not taken a stance on this yet. Many that have answered the in-game survey have said that they will play on both servers. We basically have to wait and see. So yeah, that's really it for the Q&A. We don't know a whole lot more at this time. We know that the team would like to have the server launched by this Saturday, December 18th. However, because of the holidays coming up, and because we're only 3 days away from that at the time I'm recording this video, and we still don't know for sure if that's going to happen, personally, I would be surprised if they manage to get the server launched by the 18th. Maybe they will. Who knows? You will absolutely be notified by me as soon as I can. If they do manage to get the server going, I will do my best to have a video up either Saturday night or in the night or whatever day the server goes live. I'll do my best to have a notification video out for you guys. But if you're on my Discord, you'll definitely be pinged. Maybe I'll post just like a text post or something on YouTube so you guys hear about it. So overall, this is all really exciting. I'm happy to hear about all this. This has definitely given me the itch to come back and play some SWG. Even if the server does launch on Saturday, I don't think I'm going to be able to just like sit around and play Galaxies all day. We'll have to wait and see how things go. especially with my work schedule nowadays, and with the holidays coming up. It's going to be, it's an interesting time to decide to do this, but I'm still glad it's happening. I'm going to try and keep this video as short as possible, so I'm just going to wrap it up now. But let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you're excited, which poll option you chose, if you did end up voting in the poll, and if you think you have an idea what you're going to do with your 2 characters on Finalizer, go ahead and let me know that as well. I definitely think I'm going to be bringing back Mobius, the TKM Master Doctor, because I think with the only 1 character online at a time, it might be difficult for people to run AFK doc buffers, so we might actually see a return of at the keyboard doctor buffs, which I would love to be a part of. That's gonna be it for now. Thank you all for watching. Mobius1 here, and I'll see you soon.